Collective Hope. Hopefully, everybody is doing all right. This is going to be a redo of the video that I did a couple of days ago. Um, Generally, my computer was acting Mercury retrograde, and who knows, it might be doing the same thing today. But we're gonna try to do the video. I added some more things to it to make it more succinct and much more palatable because that's what tends to happen when you sit on information. So hopefully, if y'all can hear me okay and y'all are on this video, can you just put a one in the chat for me, please? Because I would hate for it to be in a particular place where I sound crazy or y'all can't hear me because Mercury is retrograding. I need to get a new aux cord because I could just be hearing it and y'all can hear me perfectly fine. So we're live, people. Live is going to live. So, you know, my videos ain't no telling what Jack told Helen. So the topic of this particular conversation is let it pour, but that is just kind of a title for an action. The action would be catharsis or emotional release, which allows the individual to enter into a paradigm of education. Because when we really sit and think about the sun going into Aries and beginning a new cycle, the best way to get the most out of any educational pursuit is to learn, right? Or to be a sponge or to be an empty cup. So, with this particular paradigm shift that we're experiencing, a lot of a lot of build over from past narratives and things of that nature. But what I'm gonna try to do with this astrology report is show you how I would navigate this particular terrain based upon my astrological chart. Go through that with y'all, and then also just try to make sure that we understand, overstand, and understand the energy from a perspective to where we can change it. Because when I talk about energy, I talk about it from a metaphysical perspective, meaning that and I'm a firm believer that the kingdom of heaven is within you. A simpler way of saying that is that when you change the inside, the outside changes very naturally. And so a lot of times the miracle is just simply in realizing your full capabilities, which comes from a balanced mental and emotional state, which brings us back to catharsis. How are we ever going to fully get there if we don't release energy that no longer serves us? So, the best thing about education is when you can apply that business degree into an actual business. You could apply that psychology degree into an actual practice. So hopefully, when we go through trying to work this through your own chart, you can begin to figure out the areas in which this energy or this spiritual awakening is taking place in your own personal life, and you can take full advantage of it. But you'll get everything that you want when you release the negative energy. So the astrological theme for this video is going to be the sun and the second decan of Pisces. Of course, I'm using the modality of sidereal astrology because we put the real in sidereal over here at the Hood Mystic YouTube channel. And of course, we're going to deal with some shadow work and my own personal brand of Kabbalistic thought, Gnostic, Kabbalah. So all of that is encompassed in this particular presentation. The best way to consume my content for the past 8 to 9, 10 years has been with a pen and paper, right? Because the culmination of these talks come from pen and paper. The way that I imagine them to be received is through pen and paper, to whereas you're not You could write what I'm saying as a way to things that you want to research later, but ultimately, free journaling, free writing, but more or less writing about yourself from an astrological perspective and giving you the space and time to do so. So whether, you can't do it right now because you at work, make some time to really write some things down about yourself in reference to studying your chart. I would never, ever, 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 ever study my chart without a pen and pad. So into this conversation, we're going to be talking about Pisces. Pisces is a water sign, but in order to fully understand and understand the concept of water, I got a quick video to show y'all. It's about 3 minutes, and then we will get to the conversation. If y'all cannot hear the video, please let me know, and I will restart it to make sure that y'all can hear it. So, with all that being said, we're about to get into it, but this video is a short video on water.
Water is more than just hydration. Water is living memory. Water is a multi-dimensional liquid crystal that stores consciousness. In fact, when Jesus called the Father, he was actually talking about all that is, which is what consciousness binds to. Consciousness binds through water, so every drop of water holds light codes and memory. Water mirrors and absorbs the vibration of your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, and your surroundings. Water stores that in memory form, so every sip you take, it's either remembering heaven or hell, depending on the signal that you are sending. Water is listening and it hears your words. Your words literally imprint its molecular structure. You are rewiring the water geometry within with your thoughts, your words, your attitudes, and your beliefs. So your blood, your fascia, your tears, they're all based in water, and consciousness binds to water. So if your inner waters are absorbing fear, shame, or distortion, these dense frequencies will cause your fascia and blood to become sticky, and the water can't flow and it stagnates. And this is what brings dis-ease. Heal the water and the water will heal you, because we are water. Water is life. So invest more money into your water than you do into your groceries. Bless your water. Speak to it like it's alive and listening, because it is. And once upon a time, on a hot day in Jerusalem, one day Jesus prayed, Father, I pray that they might be one as we are one. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. You will do even greater things than me. And the waters were listening, and it absorbed Jesus's prayers, and the frequency of those words were stored in water. And on a hot day, that prayer in the form of water evaporated into the air, and the wind blew that prayer, and it precipitated down and rained down over a dry and thirsty land. So the intention of that prayer is still alive and being answered through you, through me, through we, because water is the energy, and it's neither created nor destroyed, and the water is listening to every single prayer, and you are the ones your ancestors prayed for. Holy Spirit, make it rain. Wash away all the shame, all the pain, all the blame, for the glory of Source's name, that the glory and character of original eternal source consciousness field is covering the earth once again, as the water covers the seas. Water is life. Cheers.
Technology is not my first language, man. I promise you it ain't. So, right. Technology been kicking my ass lately, man. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Um, my relationship with it have been very weird as of late. I don't know, but still pushing through in reference to what I'm interested in and what is interesting me and what I feel called to discuss. And that is the emotional plane in reference to a journey. When we think about the preparation for 9 year that we get from the date, whether we follow the Gregorian calendar or not. And then we think about the astrological side of a new year, which to me would be the first point of Aries from a sidereal point of view, which would be sometime in April. But with that being said, we would then look at the sign of Pisces to be, from a sidereal perspective, a sign of release, a sign of emotional clearing. And thus it would be uh, a trying to think of the right word, a collection of emotional experiences that go unconscious, but then come to the surface around this particular time. And what this would do or mean to the individual would be very much detrimental to if you're not conscious of the fact that emotions are released during a particular time, they come to a surface at a particular time, and you're not familiar with shadow work, then this becomes a difficult time. But if you are aware of emotional diet or emotional hygiene, where you're able to journal, you're able to practice forms of release, whether it's screaming into a pillow, yelling out in the wilderness, going to the punching bag, or doing an intense workout or sauna session, water fast, figuring out different ways, detox, right? All different ways to utilize the energy to become a magnetic portal versus a repelling force. You want to enter into April in the true spring with a clear liver, right? Liver detox, which is like, you could Google it, but some olive oil, right? Something very simple. Intestinal cleanse. Deep journaling about the energies and things you want to release. Need something? Because when you think of emotion, you're talking about something that is so very powerful and so very hidden that it becomes a ticking time bomb. And around this particular time, relationships shift, job shift, school shift. You start really entering to a form of change, a form of rebirth. Which is good if it's good. And ultimately, even if it's bad, it'll end up good. But the goal with understanding how to master the energy is how to take negative to positive. The goal of shadow work is to turn that dark demon into an angel of light. When you think about water, it is a certain level of being pure, and then it's a certain level of going to a water treatment center and they telling you that all of the hard drugs that people take, all of the birth control, all of the pharmaceuticals that people piss out their system goes into the water supply. Everything that a person could ever do in the toilet goes right back to the water supply. And then you gotta filter it out. But then they say it's some shit we can't really filter out. That's water too. Now, from just a metaphysical, spiritual perspective, the greatest thing that you could do is cleanse. The greatest thing that you could do is release. The greatest thing that you could do is surrender. The greatest thing that you could do is let go. That is when you're always going to feel and experience the most profound shifts in your spiritual journey. What astrology does is it gives you a time and a place to explore these spiritual ideas. Now, what house astrology does is that it shifts these ideas into different categories to whereas we all ain't going to the same thrift shop at the same time. Since it's, store open for 12 hours throughout the day, people going to just trickle in over throughout the day. But everybody is still going to the store to get a throwback Kobe Bryant jersey or some bell-bottom shoes to wear to the party tonight. But they all just going at different times. So, with astrology is a very deep subject, but it's not something that cannot be understood within a certain amount of time. But with any type of subject that is based upon any form of truth, it takes a certain level of time to be able to grasp it the same way as a carpenter is not going to just be Joseph day one of carpenter school. So, as I stated in the intro, this week Pisces will be transiting the second decan of Pisces in a slightly sidereal astrological chart. But to put some context, to put some study into it, we factor in the second decan of Pisces to be ruled by the Nine of Cups. Now, the Nine of Cups in the Thoth Tarot deck is called happiness. Now, one could correlate happiness to a particular circumstance, and that person is going to be the person that's going to be like a dog chasing its tail. never fully getting it, always seeing it. But since he moving and he chasing his tail, he actually think he doing something or going somewhere. Now you see a dog have his spot outside or in the house, and he just sit there and he is content, cool. He get up when he need to use the bathroom. He get up when he want to eat. Other than that, he just chilling. That dog has mastered happiness. When you think about the first deacon of Pisces is ruled by Saturn. And when you think about Saturn, Saturn is more like a plant, meaning that a plant, a tree, a bush, a flower, it's not too much movement, very disciplined, very focused. Then the second deacon of Pisces is ruled by Jupiter, where you now get to see the reason why you sat your ass down. So when we're talking about happiness and you talk about the modern person, it's like I'm saying black and you hearing white. What I mean is, you would tell me, what you mean happiness is sitting still, being in one place? Nigga, I do all types of shit. I do shit all day, every day, up, down, left, right, uptown, downtown. Then I was like, well, are you happy? Like that T.I. song, is you happy? Now, why you want to go and do that, love? Or why you want to go and do that? Is you happy? You got a million things to do or a million things you want to do. The fact that you can do them make you happy. The fact that you can't do them don't make you happy. And then once you do it, you want to do more stuff. And then you think like, man, it's going good, but what if it go bad? Get sick, start worrying about stuff, start worrying about money, start worrying about Trump. Meanwhile, we got a comet flying over Michigan. They're on their way. Just bullshit. Jesus is not about to return, y'all. Jesus would not return on Easter. That would be crazy to even think that. That would be crazy. Anyways, Pisces is in the final sign before Aries. This is the last sign before the new cycle begins. So what does that mean to you? To me, it means that it's a point of reflection of where I was at last year to where I'm at this year. What are my goals this year? What are the things that I'm going to do to make sure that I accomplish my goals? Like, what am I going through? Where am I, like, am I confused? Am I focused? Why am I confused? Right? It's a reflection, recollection time. With the sun moving into the second deacon of Pisces. So the theme of this deacon is happiness. But happiness is a formula. What is that formula, you might ask? That formula is a formula to release. That is the formula. The formula is to release. Release equals happiness. That is the formula. Release equals happiness. Einstein actually said that shit in 1926. Y'all don't remember that quote? I just want to be happy, then release. Release whatever is making you unhappy. I just want to be free. Well, then release. Release what's ever binding you. I just want to be treated right. Then release whatever's not serving you. Release equal happiness. That's the new movement for this week. Whatever you find yourself confused about, let it go. Because you can't figure it out. It's confusing you. Intentionally release. Intentional release. Because people connotate release with something bad or something negative. Withdraw, revoke, cancel, lift, remit, relinquish, quit, let go, leave behind, abandon, acquit, release, relax, loosen, stretch out. Now, in my talk on Sat Chit Ananda, where the actual experience and being is bliss, life within itself equates to bliss, where that statement, it would naturally feel far-fetched until you begin to stretch your body, and stretching out your lower back, your groin, your thighs, your hamstrings, your calves, your shoulder, your neck, your back. Nigga, ooh, you start relaxing. What is relaxing but releasing the tension that's in your body? So this process of release is a much more deeper metaphysical concept than, if you never really thought about it, then it's just like release. Hood said release, so release. But I'm really trying to be mathematical, scientific today. So another exercise one could do to really raise their electromagnetism. So this is just the electromagnetic spectrum flipped vertically, where horizontally it is a visual spectrum, to whereas what we see is like 0.6% of the actual visible spectrum. But from a vertical perspective, our emotions become, when you, well, basically it's two words: electromagnetic, electrical, energetic power, rhythmic frequency and vibration, magnetic, is your ability to attract people, situations, circumstances that, you know, you could just build with people over time. You never know where it's going to lead, but you have been magnetized in the situation for the past 6 to 7, 8, 9 years. Now, if you find yourself not being magnetic, then a good exercise would be to bring out your chart, create some legend or key, or just go to Google and write like house astrology house descriptions, and it'll give you like first house means this, second house means that. Or purchase Astrology Explained by Kyrie Anthony on Amazon. It'll give you a how to read natal charts workbook at the end of it. Either or. But regardless, get your chart, go through each house, and identify how you feel about said energy. So if the first house is about the self, you identify upon this particular list. You can type emotional frequency, something or another. You'll find it. It's hard to find. Each year it gets harder and harder to find on Google Images, right? Because this is really the cheat code to life. The cheat code to life is your vibration, your frequency. Because when you match that particular vibration and frequency in that particular area, you become a match to it. Because electric is just consciousness. It's just an idea. It's just a thought. But you might find yourself, based upon a particular situation, but based on a particular circumstance, to where you are struck with a bad thought. It could have been an old bad thought. Bad thoughts happen when you smoke the wrong weed, right? Take the wrong edible. Bad thoughts are something that happens to an individual. But the issue with the bad thought is that it's rarely, if ever, corrected. It continues to remain as a bad thought. So what I'm saying is, at an electric perspective, that is registering in the area of guilt, shame, fear, grief, apathy, fear. And from that particular perspective, it is matching and magnetizing, right? A bad thought is a suffering thought. When you think a bad thought, you are then suffering. And that suffering from an etymological point of view, suffering is the patient enduring of a pain, inconvenience, loss. It is undergoing of punishment, affliction, meaning a painful condition, pain felt. When you go through negative emotional thoughts, emotions, and feelings, you are suffering. When you join a group, when you get a good job, when things is going, when you facing adversity, when you fighting against the system, you just getting by. But when you raise all of that energy up into, you love yourself, you love your finances, you love your brother, your sister, you love your home, you love your wife, you love your mother, you love your sister, you love your child, you love your children, you love your work, you love your wife, you love your husband, you love your marriage, you love the love that you make, you love your ability to travel, you love your ability to see the world, you love the work that you do, you love your community, you love your spiritual development, you love the fact that you are an integral person, you love the fact that you don't live with secrets, you love that you love your body, you love your sex. I mean, like, you love your, it's a certain level of loving your sex that doesn't involve another person or doesn't even involve you. It's a vibratory frequency, is meaning that like your whole body can vibrate with love energy. And most of these particular feelings, whenever you have a negative feeling, that vibratory, it shifts instantly. And you could go back into a peace, and then your kids start arguing, and then you like gotta shake out of it. You quiet them down. They arguing again, you out of that peace. You at work, you stressed out about what you're doing at work, you bored at work, or you busy at work, whatever the case may be. Caseload is unbearable. You go home and it's things that you want to do, you can't do because you're just tired, and you just go home, crash out. At no point in time are you setting the time to master your vibratory frequency. Even so, whatever the case is, whatever the circumstance is, the object of the game is to be peace through it all. I mean, vibrate peace. Like, you know what I'm saying? In every area of your life. But you got to go through each and every part of your being to see, like, you know, the motherfucking diamond detectors. Is this real or is this fake? Right? So once again, release is not just some cool word to say when the chips is down. Release is a mind, body, and soul experience that one could utilize in this space and time, called the second decan of Pisces, Sun transiting through it. The emotional body is the physical, sensory, and energetic manifestation of emotions, acting as a bridge between mental thoughts and physical sensations. So, I don't know if you can trick yourself into it. It was something that happened spontaneous to me when I was microdosing and doing a deep stretching. I began to vibrate in my root and sacral chakra to the point that it overwhelmed me, and I just had to lay down. And when I lay down, the vibration just started to intensify, and it just felt blissful. And it urged me to put out that video to really like document it. But it's a certain level of releasing, stretching, being comfortable in your body, that you gotta allow the shit that's underneath the surface to rise up, to journal it, to release it, to get into a certain level of just being okay with the world, not feeling like you haven't done enough, or you're doing too much, or you're single and you're unhappy, you're married, you unhappy, you're rich, you unhappy, you poor, you unhappy. You gotta get beyond these particular paradigms and get into the paradigm of you. This is how you master emotions. There's no way you can deal with the 2026 simulation and balance your emotions. It's specifically designed to disorder you from an emotional. Everything that's happening is to piss a person off beyond the level of pistivity. So if you're a human being, you probably are dealing with some level of grief because somebody close to you has transitioned outside of the body. And since we are not educated in the ways of spirituality, it is generally death that serves as an initiation to the spiritual realms. Whether your grandmother came and visited you in your dream, or you've seen signs and symbols that brought you to the reality of the other side, to where you either make a connection or you don't connect at all. You either build an altar or you don't have no altar at all. A person that grieves and grieves on the inside is thus holding a dense emotional weight that anchors you below your natural frequency. What is this frequency? This is the frequency of suffering. But there is a lot of pride in the grief. When you talk about grief, one of the first things people say is you can't tell people how to grieve, which is a prideful ass statement. You don't have pride when you go to a carpenter school. You can't tell me how to put wood together. Yes, I can. I'm your fucking carpenter teacher, nigga. I like that's literally what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell you what the fuck to do. So when it comes to grief, let it go. Because it's not real. It's not true. It's not nobody actually dies. They just transition to a different form, which you will transition to. What you gonna do when you transition? You can't even grieve yourself. It has to be floating in the netherworlds. But it's a certain level of releasing the dense emotional weight because there is a certain paradigm of transitioning that is just darkness. You know what I'm saying? Like lights out. Because people get online and talk about these beautiful journeys that they experience, but my good friend Shadeja, she got pew pew 6 times, but she survived. And she messaged me. She said, "Nah, that shit was that shit was just darkness. Shit was just pitch black. I ain't see no angels. I ain't levitate outside of my body. I went to a dark cave." And I said, "Well, that's just kind of like a warning." I took it as a warning. You know, I got really into my chakra work at that particular point. Resentment. If you're a human being and you lived on earth, somebody somewhere has made your ass angry. Doop doop doo doo doo. Now, the stored anger that you're not going to alchemize is going to lead to cancer or a serious autoimmune disease, because our stored anger is like fireballs in our cellular molecular life. It's like destructive as hell. Hood, how am I just going to get rid of anger if I'm angry? Well, it's this thing called yoga. It's this thing called deep stretching. It's this thing called YouTube. It's this thing called tutorial guided stretching, 30 minutes, 60-minute. It's a thing called frankincense. It's a thing called resin. It's a thing called incense. It's a thing called lighting. It's a thing called cleaning. It's a thing called relaxation music, spiritual meditation music. It's a thing called a yoga mat. Because you're going to be in fight and flight, moving around, grooving around on your phone, in the car, at the coffee shop, at the gym, go here, go there, go where, go to my cousin's house. What y'all doing? Oh, yeah. You're going to do all of this shit. Then talk about how do I release anger. At a certain point, you're going to have to set the vibe, set the mood, set the energy. Release is to stretch out. Because the energy is stored in your body. It's stored a lot of, you really want to get a good growing stretch going. You want to get the lower extremities, upper thighs, upper quads. Because it's a lot of stored energy in them hips, lower back. You want to start stretching that out. You want to start releasing that energy, releasing that anger. Because if you don't release it that way, it ain't something that you can just say. It ain't something that you can buy. It ain't something that you can just do. You could journal about it. It might help, but it might not help. Especially if the anger, so imagine you yell, or you got so mad and so worked up, you've developed a bodily sensation. Like a yell, that's a vibration within your cellular life. It's stored somewhere up in that motherfucker. You might not see it, you might not understand it or overstand it, but it's there. Fear is the contraction that keeps you small when expansion is your birthright. So the thing to the second deacon of Pisces is happiness. Happiness and fear don't really work together. The planet that rules the second deacon of Pisces is Jupiter, the planet of expansion. So we're working with two themes here. We're working with expansion and happiness. The idea of expansion and fear are not synonyms. You should expand without fear. You should discover without fear. You should go out and explore without fear. Nobody didn't say preparation, but fear is not a healthy energy. Fear masquerades as wisdom. I'm not ever going to get in a relationship no more because my last boyfriend was a dog. He was a cheater. That's fear masquerading as wisdom. I'm not going to get with no girls because my last girl put me on child support. She never loved me at all. She just used me for my money. That's fear masquerading as wisdom, and it keeps you small. If your inclination was to be in a relationship and you got into the wrong relationship, a relationship that wasn't beneficial towards you, your inclination was right, but maybe your selection was wrong. And there's still improvement and betterment in reference to you that goes into what's going to assist you in that expansion of whatever area you have fear. Do you have fear in the seventh house? Do you have fear in the fourth house? Do you have, where is your fear at? Stagnation, complacency, which is energy, emotion. That's what emotion breaks down to. Stagnation and complacency is the opposite to energy, emotion. When you are stagnant, when you are complacent, you are dealing with unexpressed energy that pulls and blocks the natural current of your life force. So once again, how do I become more active when I'm complacent and stagnant? I can't just tell myself get up and go, because I tell myself get up and go every day. It ain't working, hood. To release means to let go. To let go means to stretch out. You have to let go of the energies that are attached to your being that are making the decisions for you. Because the formula for happiness is release. It's not get more, do more, have more, see more, be more. More is less in this particular situation. Catharsis is not a weakness, it is an energetic housekeeping. The goal is to release, to then get into your natural life force energy, which is electromagnetic paradigm. Good thoughts, good words, good actions, good results. So this is another 3-minute video to discuss particular levels of intelligence in reference to the conjunction between Saturn and Neptune. But just to give you more context to the conversation that I'll personally be having, just have a quick 3-minute video. And the topic is intelligence is the ability to adapt to change.
How do you start your day? With the mindset to take everything head on, or run away from anything new, unexpected that life might throw at you? If not, then maybe it's time you put some efforts into your ability to adapt to changes and take your intelligence to a new height. Adaptability is a very important trait of human personality, and it helps you in figuring out how you can handle changes in your everyday life. Intelligence is a significant part of your build-up, and the ability to adapt helps in using that intelligence in ways you may never imagine. Everyone responds to changes and challenges differently in his or her life. Some just give up easily. Some follow the same tried and tested methods, while some other try to find a way out of that situation and get the things in their favor. Obviously, the third type of people are more ready to adapt than others, and that makes them a bit more intelligent than the others. Let's have a look at the ability to adapt to change can benefit you in life. 1. Increase your value. The ability to adapt to changes in life will make you a valuable asset in every aspect of life, be it personal or professional. In professional life, it will give you an advantage over your competition, and also give you a chance to show your mental capabilities in respect to whatever challenges your organization may face. You will be a precious asset to your employer. In your personal life, you will be better prepared for any kind of unanticipated changes. It will make life a lot more stress-free, and you will be able to enjoy the good changes and have tough a disposition to get through the rough ones. 2. It will make you a better leader. With your adaptability skills, you will get an opportunity to develop and take your leadership skills in the right direction. You will be able to make a better leader, and your team members will respect you for that. You will be able to take your team through any unexpected events and consequences, and also inspire them to improve their own ability to be adaptable to the changes. It will also make you a quick and better decision maker, a very important trait for a good leader to have. 3. Improve your satisfaction level with life. With better adaptability for unexpected changes, the quality of life improves. Instead of losing their temperament, people work their way through the changes and live a positive and happy life. Lack of adaptability means people can easily succumb to hopelessness, disempowerment, and can give up easily in the face of tough situations. Being able to adapt doesn't mean that the success is guaranteed, but with adaptability comes the confidence of making amends and learning from the past mistakes. It also means you can handle transitions better when it comes to moving from one phase of life to another. As a result, when you believe that you can adapt yourself according to any change or challenge that comes your way, you are already on your way to find the happiness of a lifetime.
So, two things that I'm going to be talking about, which is really one thing, but one part of the one thing, so makes it two things. So the part that I'm going to be talking about right now is Neptune and Saturn. The totality of the thing that I'm going to be talking about is the minor grand trine between Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus. But when it comes to this particular leg of the triangle, between, or the apex of the triangle, Neptune and Saturn, for individuals, there is really a time where we begin to adapt or stagnate. And the adaptation process is a much more personal process. The technology that supersedes the material technology is the spiritual technology. And the spiritual technology, another synonym of that will be the kingdom of heaven. And we should know this by now. The kingdom of heaven is within us, meaning that the greatest of all teachers is within us. So Neptune is dissolving the barrier between ego and the soul. The catch-22 is that the individual holds on to the ego, even though the ego is not serving them. The flip is to release all of the negative energy that is bound to the ego or to the body by doing what the Hindus and the Vedics suggested we do 5,000 years ago, which is yoga. Yoga is the union, but yoga is personal. If I'm doing deep stretches, I do not emit a magnetic frequency that reaches you, not in a way that is impacting me in my vibratory frequency. These are just the facts. So when we look at these particular energies, the best way to look at them is to look at them at a personal level. When we are breaking down the illusion, We are breaking down the illusion to self. What has always been true is that you are a soul. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. The human experience is the false self. So, f- from a mundane perspective, people will just simply look at this individual as a person that has a psychic gift or a psychic ability. From a personal perspective, you are just coming into the knowledge of self. As we stated earlier, Saturn rules the first decan of Pisces, and Saturn is like a a a tree or a plant that grows every season like clockwork. It knows what it is and what it has come to do. It knows what phase of life it is in, meaning that is it a student or is it a teacher or is it a little bit of both? Saturn comes to work every day on time, before time. Saturn is that motherfucker at work that you know is not calling off. Going by the book. And because they go by the book, they are, to you, a dickhead. Only if you become wise enough to understand and overstand the book was giving you the guide rails till you get into your ultimate goal. The book was only there to help you. Because you wanted to do your own way was the reason that you kept crashing into a wall. Generally, we hate the rules for the things that we signed up for. So Saturn say if you signed up for it, you got to deal with the rules. And Saturn is going to be embodied by a person in any area of life that you go to. Now, where Saturn shows up in a relationship, or should be, through the man, which another subject, another video. Not gonna get into that. But because Saturn represents the father, but regardless to that, what discipline does the new you require? Meaning that what level of structure are you going to put on yourself to become the best version of yourself in reference to the Neptunian type of impact that Neptune is having on Saturn? And at a certain level, one would say, well, how am I going to be able to see that or visualize it? The sun going through the second decan says that you can just simply release those old expired identity, expired versions of yourself, expired patterns, behaviors, compulsions. Men, don't wait till November to retain. You feel me? Normalize semen retention to the best of your ability. Because it's all about energy flow. It's all about diet. It's all about understanding and knowing what you putting in your body versus, you know, coming on the other side acting like shit just happened so randomly. knowing when you need to detox, knowing when you need to cleanse, listening to your body, working with your body, freeing up the energy within your body to whereas you can feel your chakras vibrating. When people talk about the chakras and they never felt their root chakra and they sacral chakra vibrate and rotate, it's like, oh yeah, I don't know if the chakras is real. If you ain't never experienced sex, you could easily say, man, yeah, I don't think sex is real. I think y'all just capping. But if you had sex, you know that it's real. You might not can show it to a person, but you know it's real. What I'm trying to say is when you're able to free up the energy within your body, within your mind, within your heart, you are going to get the instructions. So what I'm going to do is show you guys the actual chart. And then I'm going to show you a transit chart, which is going to be my chart superimposed on the daily chart to tell you, like, kind of show you how I would decode my personal spiritual awakening versus how you could decode yours, versus if you had planets in that place or you didn't have planets in that place, what it would mean versus the house. So it would be kind of like a guide. You would have to kind of pay a little bit close attention to what I'm saying, because if you never really dealt with astrology before, it could seem complicated. But what I'll do is give you kind of like a step by step to sort of, to the best of my ability, demystify how to interpret your personal spiritual awakening utilizing your own astrology chart. Using mine as an example, because I only I know a lot of people's chart, but I would imagine me just showing a chart of somebody chart that I read. Like Shaniqua, this is Shaniqua Jenkins' chart. She'll be mad if she ever existed. No, but the first planet we go look at is Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn rules the 10th house. So collectively, the 10th house is career. So what are they saying? What are they saying every time I get on YouTube? How AI is taking all of the jobs. That don't mean that people aren't going to work, but you just going to have to refigure out how you're going to work. Figuring out what house Capricorn is in your chart will give you the area that best suits you, like what career best suits you moving forward. So if Capricorn is in your 7th house, that's dealing with courts, marriage, could be a reverend, politics, even government positions, things of that nature. Because Pluto is in this particular house, and Capricorn is in the 7th house, this means that your transformation, meaning that like you probably ain't doing that. You probably doing something completely different. But if you could begin to imagine, if you could begin to see what Capricorn in the 7th house looks like, right, for you, it might be abstract at this particular point. But if you can see it and it feels good to you, then you could start getting into the structure of taking seminary courses now because you want to be a pastor and you can see yourself being a pastor. So now you put that discipline on it to help you act out that particular vision that's going to take place over these next 7 years. So another point to this minor grand trine between Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus that's going to has been taking place since 9 years. Been covering this since 2024, so it's 2 years now. Got 7 more years to go. As I stated earlier, we just got a comment over Michigan, but I feel as though things are going to get really weird leading up to Easter Sunday. But that's just my prediction with this 1 year and all of this new beginning energy coming to surface. So the second leg or the apex of this minor grand sign trine between these transpersonal planets is Neptune. And Neptune is the planet of spiritual development versus the person that you are ultimately becoming from a truthful perspective. When you look at Pisces, Pisces represents like a mystery. So all of these particular planets, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, are mysterious as planets. They're not planets that are just so direct. Meaning that when you begin to meditate on these planets at whole, like you really look at Pluto in your chart, you really look at Neptune in your chart, you see where transit Pluto is, you see where transit Neptune is, you see where transit Uranus is. What house are these transiting planets in your house? Because they're mysterious, the nature of the discovery that you'll find within yourself will be very surprising, or it'll be very inspiring. Like, oh, I don't have any planets in this particular house. That's why I suck in it. But Pluto is in this particular house. So I can actually transform my life if I just first, this is where I'm at. But this is where I want to go. I'm giving myself 7 years to get my shit together. And now I'm going to work with the energy. Saturn is conjunct Neptune. So now this is a good time to enroll in community college. This is a good time to get that book, that study guide, and work through the book. This is a perfect time to get my certification. This is not a perfect time to be super woke. I don't need to deal with the white man system and this, that, and the third. This is not the time to deal with that. Why? Because Pluto is in the 10th house. So having your shit together might be for international causes more than they are for national causes, if you understand and understand what's happening over there in the Middle East. But I digress. Because niggas fucking with Yahweh, Allah. I'm fucking with Zarathustra, nigga. I'm fucking with Zoroaster, nigga. I'm fucking with the Z Squad, the Zopound, nigga. I ain't even dealing with that Judeo-Christian shit. Cause it's like Iran used to be Persia, but the official religion of Persia is Zoroastrianism. Butchering it, but Google it. All major religions came from the Z Squad. That's what I'm gonna call them from now on. Even deeper, as we study in astrology, the three magi that went to see Jesus when he was born, they was from the Z Squad, but they was astrologers. So I say this all to say, I wasn't really looking for the Z God and Zoroastrianism, but it's very intriguing to me. And the concepts of it, that's the winning team. I ain't even gonna lie. Niggas fucking with that Z Squad shit, they winning. The motherfuckers over there kicking America ass, man. America, like, recalibrating. Like maybe we should have treated the black people a little better. Maybe we'd had a little better karma over here or something. Maybe, hold on, wait. Maybe we should never went over there in the first. Yeah, damn. I ain't even thinking that. Maybe we shouldn't even have went over there. You know what? Maybe we should have minded our. Maybe we should have minded our business. Damn, that's crazy. Now that you say that, that make perfect sense. That's actually what we should have did, really. But now we over here looking crazy. So I'm saying all of this to say, back in the day, Iran took some hostages. And during the 1979 Iran hostage crisis, Ayatollah Khomeini ordered the release of 13 hostages, primarily African Americans and women. Shortly after they seized an American embassy. Iranian militants released them because they believed they were not spies and to show solidarity with oppressed groups. They still kept 52 motherfuckers. So, I mean, I'm trying to say something without saying something because what I'm saying, niggas might not know how to take it. But if niggas just was giving us bills anyways, they was just giving us bills anyways, making us believe in a particular system, making us believe in a particular history. But when it's all said and done, you gonna be glad that you was on a positive side of things and you didn't fall for the propaganda. Because a whole nother thing is being in fear, not being prepared, not paying attention to yourself, not dissolving the illusion because the ego is just so attached to your body that it becomes like, a part of your being. So this is how I would interpret this energy. So Pluto, the outer planets is the transit planets. The inner planets is my particular chart. So Pluto is transiting my fourth house. I don't got no planets in my fourth house, but I do work from home. My career for the past 9 years before the pandemic have been from home, which really started to happen when Pluto started entering into this area, probably about 19 years ago. However, not necessarily however, but with all, where am I going to take it though? Pluto is like when you're growing, you're still growing. Where Pluto is at in my particular house is like moving into the second decan. So it's a lot of shifts and changes that's going to happen towards really trying to figure out this fourth house energy. Like more or less moving, real estate, things of that nature, like really leveling up that particular area in my life, right? something that's just like I have to do, I want to do, I'm going to do type shit. So I am doing it type shit. So secondly, Lilith naturally is in my sixth house. Lilith deals a lot with psychic abilities, psychic powers, either repressed or alchemized, which if Lilith is in your sixth house, you want to think about alchemizing that because this is the house of service. So a lot of my particular initiation have been in service to the dark feminine, right? But that have also been transmuted and alchemized into a variety of different things and variety of different expressions. So with Neptune basically conjunct Lilith, it seems to be a deeper level of connecting with the dark feminine energy, which is my level of service, which is, a higher level, which I can conceptualize it, to just like put words to it. It's something that like when I'm vibrating my chakras and I'm like working with the energy, it's like, man, I want to teach people that. I want to be in a room I want to be in a room and teach people how to work with their energy, how to operate their chakras and feel that chakra and feel that energy just overwhelm them and overtake them with bliss. Because I'm telling you, it's an intentional thing. So I can see myself doing something like that, right? But ultimately, when we're looking at these particular planets, we're looking at like a beginning phases, an abstract. I can see myself, and it'll be like, all right, work from home, you know, get in a studio space in my garage or something like that. Like just beginning to operate in a way which is authentic to me, authentic to my chart, but it gives me a vision that I could begin to work to. If it doesn't manifest, but I go to massage therapy class, but it ends up in a whole different way, I'm in a whole different environment than what I thought I was going to do, it's all for the good. But the goal with this particular energy in reference to a spiritual awakening is to be inspired. Okay. So Uranus is going to be square my natal sun. My natal sun is 11th house sun, right? So it's a lot of this into my particular identity that this particular transition is affecting, right? So you could also read your chart like that. I mean, like, I hope that when you get your chart, you fall in love with understanding what your chart is saying, right? Because the awakening of this particular 8th house paradigm, which natally in my 8th house, I have North Node and Chiron, which I found out this a little later in life that I like doing healing work. I like doing spiritual work based upon my ability to heal myself, so much so that it brings into an overflow of giving advice to other people in ways that they can heal themselves, connect to themselves, right? Putting in the time, energy, and effort required to quality information and knowledge that a person can then be able to digest and to apply if they're ready for that. So that's my chart, and reawakening me to this reality is also an inspirational force to say, all right, like when I'm looking at the chart and I think about my conscious thoughts, like if I'm driving up and down Woodward or driving downtown Detroit. And if I would be honest with y'all today, I just want to have a place where I could do yoga every day and have yoga classes all day, every day. Like that. I want to own a business. I want to own my own business though. Like where we doing psychedelics and we stretching, and people from far and wide is coming and doing that. And I'm thinking like, damn, do I need an investor? Do I gotta meet somebody? Am I going to get the money for myself? Like this is like something that I just want to do, but it be seeming so far away that I don't put much energy and effort to it. So, which again, the stars never lie, And so what I can see, this Uranus squaring to Saturn in the 11th house, there is something habitual about me that has to, and how I relate to people, because ultimately the way that I dream, I know for sure that I can't accomplish this by myself. Being an 11th house sun, I know that I'm a part of something larger than myself. But the actual activation of this part of my chart is going to require a lot more and something much different out of me, how I relate to other people. And it's like, what's inside of you. But what astrology can do, if you study it right, is it'll give you the keys and codes to understand how to even just personally just be inspired, for one, and for two, put some action behind it. So what are the 3 stages of alchemical transformation in reference to alchemizing the emotional plane in reference to the sun entering into the second decan of Pisces throughout the week? Well, the first thing is happiness equals release. Another word for that is catharsis. So if you're feeling intense emotions, allow it to move through you. Don't be held inside of you. Do deep stretches, meditation music, high vibrational foods. Try to avoid, to the best of your ability, things that just stick on your stomach. Understand through this particular portal, the body is a vessel. So, the deepest love that you can have for yourself will be the love of your body. It's the only body that you're going to get in this lifetime. It's the only car you're going to get. Can't go to the dealership and get a new one. Right? So once again, identify levels of grief, levels of rage, levels of feeling sorry for yourself, to which you haven't fully identified visually, mentally. You just been holding on to these emotions. And then secondly, get into the body of it, meaning deep stretching, yoga, stretching out them hips, lower back. Get into the mode of releasing that energy through stretching. But the goal is to release through a level of detox. In a simple way to explain this is to be an empty cup. An empty cup is easily filled versus a full cup. Trying to teach somebody that know it all versus somebody that's eager to learn is 2 different experiences. When you are able to align with the energies of the time, you will begin to see that there is something powerful going on inside of you. If you are able to receive from the master, then you are able to release those levels of self-degradation that are natural, because everything in the world tells you just a regular human. You just, you need to listen to me. You need to do what I'm doing. You need to do what she doing. You ain't good. You ain't bad enough. You ain't. Okay, cool. Let people think what they're gonna think. Because ultimately, if you live long enough, you done heard every opinion about yourself. to the point where you're going to have to understand and overstand that the person that you should be listening to is yourself. And find it, and it's the ideas that's bubbling up inside of your mind. And the reality of it coming into a manifestation is not a result of having, it's a result of not having in reference to distractions. If you have a lot of distractions, it's not going to happen the way you want it to happen. But if you don't have any distractions, meaning you released, you've understood and overstood this process at the most deepest levels, from a bodily level. You feel it from your toes to your head, bliss and relaxation, because you did the work. It's not because we are humans and shit has happened to us. That goes without saying. The next process is, did you do alchemy or did you just let that shit sit within your being? Because you could be a good person but have all types of energy stuck and attached to your energetic body. So to summarize, this week, the intentional release of emotions to clear up the space for the mental, commit to learning something new that's going to help you deal with the world that is changing. Do not play with this shit, because this shit will not play with you. This shit get hardcore to the gristle out here in these streets. If you can't get into school, that's still not a reason not to learn, not a reason to adapt, because there's a lot of people making moves, adapting, and they never been to school, or if they did go to school, they wasn't the best students. The real school is life. And a lot of people is good at school, but bad at the school of life. Spiritually. Okay. Distractions. Identify distractions. Acknowledge your distractions. Respect your distractions. Your distractions will fuck your ass up. Your distractions is like Mike Tyson in this motherfucking bitch. Your distractions don't give a fuck what you got planned for yourself. A distraction will ruin any and everything that you got going for yourself because you didn't honor it. You ain't respect it. You thought it was, not a beast. It would knock your ass out. I see you, distraction. You peace and love and hotepery. But I don't want no beef this month. Energetically, men, you got to get into the semen retention to the best of your ability. Ladies, you got to understand your power in reference to the vibratory frequencies that you hold. So many propagandas been taught to you in reference to the world instead of the true nature of your power from a 5-dimensional perspective. I'm not going to get into it, but you can do the math. There's a certain level of the love for the spiritual side of life, the vibratory frequency, the orgasmic portals that any woman can enter without no stimulation. It is a mental experience. You enter into the conscious state of pure bliss. You can take a day off and you just lay in the bed. Don't go to sleep. Don't drown yourself with TV. But get into a space where you're just energetically in the energy of love, and go to work tomorrow and tell me that you're not at a whole different place. You able to see everything for what it is and what it isn't. because you've mastered the inner dynamics. You're not by yourself getting food on and off Tinder, things of that nature. The affirmation for this week is simple. I release what no longer serves me. I learn what this new world is asking of me. I apply what I've been taught, and I rise because I let go. Always remember, the formula for happiness is release. My name is Kyrie Anthony, also known as the Hood Mystic. I'm a psychic astrologer, reader, father, holistic healer, blogger. But ultimately, I hope to help you use your inherent gifts to enrich your lives materially and spiritually. Please join my Substack. The link is in the description. We have full monthly readings. I want to do a Q&A in reference to people's charts to decode this spiritual awakening, if that particularly interests you. Going to do that sometime this week, but I will schedule it. If you want to know the particular date and time, best way to figure this out is to become a paid member of the Substack. You can become a free member too. If none of the paid members want to do it, I will go send it to the free members. But I really want to do a Q&A. Hopefully we could do some, conversations, join the live and talk about your chart. So, I just really want to help people see it for themselves. So if you're interested in that, man, join the Substack, join the Q&A. I'll read your chart and people will watch it and they'll be like, oh, this is deep. I want my chart read. That's usually how it happens. But with all that being said, man, join the Substack, like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed already, if you enjoy videos such as this. But with all that being said, this has been my astrological report of the week. I'm the Hood Mystic, signing off for the one time. Peace to the tribe, peace to the collective. And I will see y'all all on the flip side.